Imagine waking up tomorrow with absolutely nothing to do. No alarm clock forcing you out of bed, no unread emails waiting for your attention, no meetings, no deadlines, no phone calls, and no responsibilities. Just an entire day that belongs completely to you. At first, it sounds like the perfect life. You imagine feeling relaxed, peaceful, and free. But after a few hours, something strange begins to happen. You instinctively reach for your phone. You refresh your social media feed, even though nothing important has happened. You check your emails, despite knowing nobody expects a reply. You start cleaning a room that was already clean. You open YouTube, scroll endlessly, or begin searching for another task to fill the silence. Suddenly, doing nothing feels uncomfortable, almost guilty. Why does this happen? Why do so many people feel restless the moment life slows down? Why have we become addicted to being busy? Most people believe they're busy simply because modern life demands it. Work needs to be finished, bills need to be paid, responsibilities need to be handled. While that's partly true, psychology suggests something much deeper is happening beneath the surface. Many of us aren't just working to build a better life, we're constantly staying busy to avoid facing ourselves. As long as we're occupied, we don't have to think about the questions we've been avoiding. We don't have to confront loneliness, fear, disappointment, uncertainty, or the uncomfortable feeling that maybe our lives aren't moving in the direction we truly want. Busyness becomes a distraction, a shield protecting us from conversations we'd rather never have. Without realizing it, millions of people spend their entire lives running, not because they know exactly where they're going, but because standing still feels far more frightening. Your brain also plays a major role in this endless cycle. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors lived in a world where survival depended on constant action. Every day required hunting, gathering food, building shelter, finding clean water, protecting loved ones, and staying alert for danger. A person who stopped moving for too long often didn't survive. Evolution rewarded brains that stayed active because activity increased the chances of staying alive. Although the world has completely changed, your brain hasn't changed nearly as much. It still carries ancient survival software designed for a dangerous environment. Deep inside, your brain continues believing that movement equals safety. That's why sitting quietly without doing anything can sometimes make you feel uncomfortable, even when you're perfectly safe. Your nervous system wasn't built for endless relaxation, it was built for survival. But survival isn't the only reason we stay busy. Psychologists have discovered another powerful force called avoidance behavior. When human beings experience emotional pain, and they often distract themselves instead of processing it, someone who has gone through heartbreak may suddenly become obsessed with work. Another person struggling with anxiety fills every minute of the day with activities, because staying busy prevents them from thinking. Someone dealing with loneliness might spend every evening scrolling through social media or constantly making plans, because silence forces them to feel emotions they've been avoiding. From the outside, these people appear hardworking and productive. Inside, they're simply running from pain. Busyness becomes emotional anesthesia. It temporarily numbs fear, sadness, insecurity, and uncertainty. The problem is that emotions don't disappear just because they're ignored. They simply wait. Eventually, when life finally slows down, all those unprocessed feelings return stronger than before. Modern society quietly encourages this behavior. Today, being busy has become something people proudly announce. Ask almost anyone how they're doing. And one of the most common answers you'll hear is, "I've been so busy somehow." Busyness has become a symbol of importance. If someone is always working, people assume they're successful. We celebrate long working hours, packed schedules, endless meetings, and nonstop productivity. Hustle culture tells us that resting is laziness and slowing down means falling behind. But here's the question. Very few people stop to ask, are we truly productive or are we simply exhausted? There's a huge difference between the two. Being busy means doing more things. Being productive means doing the right things. Yet your brain often struggles to tell the difference because every completed task gives you a tiny reward. Every email answered, every notification checked, every item crossed off, your to-do list releases a small amount of dopamine, the brain chemical associated with motivation and reward. Over time, your brain begins craving that constant stream of dopamine. You don't necessarily become addicted to work itself, you become addicted to the feeling of always being occupied. This explains why weekends sometimes feel strangely uncomfortable. It explains why vacations can make some people anxious instead of relaxed. It explains why sitting quietly for even 10 minutes feels more difficult than working for 10 hours. Your brain has become conditioned to expect constant stimulation. The moment everything becomes quiet, your mind suddenly becomes loud. Thoughts you've been avoiding begin appearing. Questions you've been ignoring demand answers. Am I actually happy? Do I enjoy my work? Am I chasing my own dreams or someone else's expectations? Why do I still feel empty after achieving everything I once wanted? These are powerful questions, and they rarely appear while you're rushing from one task to another. They usually arrive in silence. That's exactly why many people unknowingly avoid silence. It's not because silence is empty. It's because silence reveals what constant noise has been hiding. Perhaps that's why history's greatest thinkers intentionally created space for stillness. They walked alone. They meditated. They wrote in journals. They spent time reflecting instead of constantly producing. They understood something modern society often forgets. Stillness is not wasted time. Stillness is where clarity is born. Your greatest ideas rarely appear while you're answering emails. Your deepest healing doesn't happen while you're scrolling your phone. Your biggest breakthroughs usually arrive during quiet moments when your brain finally has room to think. Maybe the goal of life isn't to stay busy every second. Maybe the goal is to become busy with the things that truly matter, while also giving yourself permission to slow down without guilt. Because one day, many people will realize they spent their entire lives making a living, but never truly made a life. And by then, all the busyness in the world won't be able to give those lost moments back. The most dangerous thing about constant busyness is that it often looks admirable from the outside. People praise you for working hard. They admire your discipline. They call you productive, ambitious, dedicated, and responsible. But what if some of that busyness has nothing to do with purpose? What if it's simply a way of avoiding the uncomfortable silence that appears when life slows down? Many people don't realize that they are not only busy with work, they are busy with notifications, conversations, errands, scrolling, planning, organizing, worrying, and constantly moving from one distraction to another. Their calendar is full, but their heart feels empty. Their day is packed, but their mind never feels peaceful. And because everyone around them is doing the same thing, it starts to feel normal. We live in a world where exhaustion is often treated like a badge of honor. If you're always busy, people assume you're important. If you're always available, people assume you're reliable. If you're constantly working, people assume you're successful. But very few people ask a more important question. Are you actually living, or are you just staying occupied? One of the hidden reasons we stay busy is that busyness gives us temporary proof that we matter. When someone needs us, we feel valuable. When we complete a task, we feel accomplished. When our schedule is full, we feel important. For a moment, the brain rewards us with a small sense of purpose, but that feeling doesn't last very long. Well, soon, another task appears, another notification arrives, another responsibility demands attention, and the cycle begins again. This is why many people feel strangely uncomfortable when they finally have free time. Without the next task, the next message, or the next responsibility, they begin asking questions they've been avoiding for years. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I becoming the person I wanted to become? These questions are not dangerous, but they can feel terrifying when you've spent years distracting yourself from them. Your brain also becomes addicted to stimulation. Every notification, every completed task, every message, every small achievement releases dopamine, the chemical associated with motivation and reward. Over time, your brain starts craving constant stimulation. Silence begins to feel empty. Rest begins to feel unproductive. Doing nothing begins to feel like failure. But rest is not failure. Rest is recovery. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is space. And without space, your mind never has a chance to understand what truly matters. Imagine trying to see your reflection in water while the water is constantly moving. The image is distorted. But when the water becomes still, everything becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. Constant activity creates noise. Stillness creates clarity. This is why some of the most important moments in life happen when nothing is happening. During a quiet walk, during a peaceful morning, during a moment of reflection, during a conversation with yourself that no one else can hear. Many of the answers you're searching for will not appear while you're rushing from one task to another. They appear when your mind finally has room to breathe. But modern life rarely gives us permission to breathe. It teaches us to optimize every minute, monetize every skill, and turn every hobby into productivity. Even rest becomes something to improve. We listen to podcasts while walking. We answer messages while eating. We scroll while watching television. We fill every empty space with stimulation because emptiness feels uncomfortable. Yet that emptiness is often where healing begins. Perhaps the saddest part is that many people become so busy building a life that they never actually experience it. They are always preparing for the future, always working for tomorrow, always waiting for the moment when life will finally begin. After this project, after this promotion, after this goal, after this Yale. But life keeps happening while they're preparing for it. The sunset happens, the conversation happens, the laughter happens, the quiet moment with someone you love happens. And if your mind is always somewhere else, you miss the very moments that make life meaningful. Real productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop. Stop rushing. Stop proving. Stop performing. Stop filling every second with noise. Give yourself permission to be still long enough to hear what your life is trying to tell you. Because one day, you may realize that the moments you remember most were not the busiest moments. They were the quiet moments, the meaningful conversations, the peaceful mornings, the laughter with people you love, the evenings when you were fully present, the moments when you were not trying to become someone else. You were simply alive. So maybe the real goal is not to eliminate work from your life. Work can be meaningful. Growth can be beautiful. Purpose can be powerful. The real goal is to stop using busyness as a way to avoid yourself, to stop measuring your worth by how exhausted you are, to stop believing that rest must be earned. Because your value does not increase when your calendar is full. Your value does not disappear when you slow down. And perhaps the most powerful realization of all is this: you do not need to fill every moment to prove that your life matters. Sometimes the most meaningful moments arrive when everything becomes quiet enough for you to finally hear your own heart. At the end of your life, people will not remember how many emails you answered, how many meetings you attended, or how many hours you worked. They will remember how present you were. They will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the moments you truly lived. And perhaps the greatest tragedy would be spending your entire life being busy, only to realize too late that you forgot to be alive.